Hello. Wanted to make a video today and tell everyone that we, the Trump supporters, are not garbage. Nobody is garbage, okay? No living being is garbage. Every living being on Earth and beyond is infinitely precious and infinitely loved by the blue God, the infinite cosmos. This is the truth. This is a fact. Okay? Just a fact-checking video here. Okay? Very, very important for people to understand this. And I love Donald Trump. I love his universal humor. He has an amazing humor. He is like a true artist, and that's what Jonathan Mese also said. And that's what Jordan Peterson also said, that the true artist, if you are just someone who's attuned, someone who's loving and truthful, someone who has the truth on their side, of course you're gonna have to have self-humor. You're gonna have to also be willing to be goofy and be willing to say or create something that isn't always necessarily completely serving something bureaucratically or money-wise, or have some kind of utilitarian use, So in order to be a true artist or a true philosopher or true politician, a truther politician, as Donald Trump is, and a true artist as Jonathan Mese is, and I consider myself to be a true artist and true philosopher, someone who has the truth on their side, okay, those people, they also laugh about themselves. Those people are willing to go through the valley of ridicule, as Jonathan Mese called it, and they are willing to laugh about themselves. They are willing to put themselves out there. They're willing to be goofy. They're willing to create something that does not necessarily always serve a utilitarian purpose. Sometimes we just want to make something that is like my artwork here, for example. When my brother saw that, he made fun of it. And he said, well, that's kind of, it sticks way out and it doesn't really serve this purpose. You might even hit your head on it, right? But luckily it's made out of styrofoam packaging material. So why do I have this there? Does it serve a purpose? A utilitarian purpose? Does any of this serve a utilitarian purpose? There, I have more in the other corners, okay, that are also sticking way out. No, it doesn't. You can't even put a book in it. You might put earplugs. You can put earplugs in some of those compartments, but that's about it, because it wouldn't hold very heavy stuff. And I have 2 astronauts in one of the compartments. And what purpose do they serve? Right? They're not serving anyone, these astronauts or this entire spaceship. It's an ET spaceship, and the only service that they do is for art. The French called it l'art pour l'art. Art for only art's purpose. Okay, it doesn't serve any other purpose other than, not even a decorative purpose for most people's standards. Okay, for my standards, because I have this sense of universal humor and self-humor and goofiness and all of that, So I love that. And this glass cabinet is full of my art also, of course. I love that. And it makes me feel good to see my artwork. It makes me feel good to see the disco light shining onto my artwork with light confetti, and it feels good, It's good for the eyes, good for the retina, and it makes you feel better, It creates endorphins, serotonin, so it serves health, but it's not set out to serve health or any. That's just a positive side effect. The main service, the only service really is of my artwork, is to serve art, and art is truth, and truth is love, and love is the infinite cosmos, and that's what it's for. And it can stand in someone's way sometimes, and there are artists also that have created very large art pieces, like the artist Niki de Saint-Phalle, who I, of course, identified myself very much with, and I recognized her as a soul friend when I was just about 8 years old, when my hometown in this world where I was born and grew up, and when they had a connection with her, and her boyfriend was actually the one that was also in charge of a lot of things, cultural things there, and they set it up for her 3 big nanas to be placed next to a river, and the photos of the nanas, each nana is about the size of like the front of a semi-truck. And so these nanas, the nanas are like abstract sculptures, depictions, sculptures of abstract women. So that was the theme, and the nanas, they're all women that she made, and very large women with very amorphous bodies, and with hippie flowers on it, and patterns, all kinds of interesting patterns, and very, very fat and very out of shape, and one is standing upside down like a handstand with the feet up, really big feet and legs. The other one is huge with a small head, and then another one very huge and very fat and amorphous. And so half of the community was strongly opposed to them. Those are the people that don't have humor, and the other ones welcomed them, and they thought that makes a nice contribution to the community. they thought they were fun. They were placed next to the river where they had every weekend they have a flea market, and then some people even put some of their stuff on the base of the sculptures, and that was just a lot of fun to have them around. You can see them from afar also, very colorful. Okay, and to me, I immediately saw them, and one of the nanas, actually the one that was doing the headstand, she has her hands, her arms, and her legs actually have this incredible zinc green, this ghost green that I have always loved my whole life. And when I saw the photos, before I actually had seen them in person, I fell in love with that immediately, and I couldn't wait to see them in person and go over there and see the completely newly made nanas by Niki de Saint-Phalle. Niki de Saint-Phalle was half French and half US American. She lived in France and also Switzerland, and was another artist for a very long time, but then I think they broke up, and she was with a politician, a German politician, and she has a son from her first marriage, and I wanted to meet her, but she died in 2002. I wanted to meet her, and because my parents know her, and this could have been arranged, but it was too late. She had already died from complications of her lungs because of the exposure to the spray paint that she was working with. So that's very sad, that's very, 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 very sad that this happened to her. And she was working with that spray paint, this very toxic spray paint, her entire life. And some friends of my parents, they came visiting us, and I was working on a very large sculpture, not as big as the nanas, but manageable enough for indoor work with it. And Niki de Saint-Phalle, she had these really large warehouses where she was working on her artwork. Obviously very, very large, with high ceilings and stuff like this. And a lot of money went into making those, of course. So no, I was in my dad's architectural studio, and I created a sculpture made out of 2 large cardboard boxes and plaster of Paris and rags and different things that were then became the arms, and the large cardboard boxes were the trunk, and then another cardboard box that would become the head. And so I had chicken wire around it, and that was very elaborate. That was my most elaborate sculpture I had ever made. I never made it past that size, but that one is about 4.5 feet tall, or 5 feet tall, not very tall, but very large, very, very wide, but not an outdoor sculpture. So later on got wet because my parents there was a flood happening, and then mold got into the sculpture, and my dad hired someone to restore the outside colors because they had peeled off. So, and eventually that sculpture might even explode with mold because there's so much mold inside. So that's not an outside sculpture to put anywhere where there's a high water, or where it stands in a puddle of water or something, or outside or anything. But then it ended up in a greenhouse in the end. But Niki de Safal, she made these really large sculptures that are the size of semi-trucks. And I saw her sculptures, and I painted them. I immediately made paintings of each one of the sculptures, and I wrote friend underneath. So I recognized the Nanas as friend and Niki de Safal as friend, soul friend. And I wanted to visit her with Paul when we lived in LA, in Marina del Rey, not that far from her. She was living in San Diego at that time. And that would have been so nice, would have been so incredibly nice, would have been an amazing experience to drive there in the motorhome with our dogs, Ludwig and Samantha, our Great Danes, and visit Niki de Safal. Yes, we thought. Oh yeah, would have been so nice. And I was so sad to hear that she died from problems with her lungs from the exposure to that spray paint. So I never worked with that spray paint. But a friend of my parents, he came over and he told me I shouldn't even work with the acrylic paint, that could also cause me lung problems. He cared, so he wanted to warn me about it. But the acrylic paint is not near as dangerous as this very toxic spray paint that's not even water-based. The spray paint, like spray paint that people use for graffiti and for spray painting outdoor equipment or cars, so obviously that is based on a lacquer, on some kind of polymer that's only dissolvable with acetone, or some paint thinners that are also, I think, petroleum derived and all of this. And then the spray is atomized into the air and goes into molecular forms in the air, and then we breathe that in, and that's very, very dangerous for our lungs. So I don't remember exactly how old she was when she died, but I think she was in her 50s or 60s, something like this. I think she was in her 60s. So, an amazing artist, really amazing. And her sculptures, they're placed at the river, and they don't serve any kind of purpose. They don't serve anyone. They serve only art. They serve abundance and humor and truth and infinite cosmos. And they are amorphous, and they are fat, and they are not pretty according to beauty standards, and it doesn't have any utilitarian purpose. They just sit there and take up space and are visible from the street, and some people love them and many people were in resistance against them. I thought that was quite funny. Particularly the religious people were against them, because the religious people very often they don't have much of a self-humor or humor in general. They take religion and things very seriously, and they don't laugh about themselves. They're not creating art. Everything in their lives is rigid and supposed to serve a purpose. And these people are not living according to the meaning of life. Okay, those religious people. My eyebrows are fanning out. I haven't plucked my eyebrows in a while. Been having very severe hip problems. So for the last months. But it's gotten really bad the last couple of days, and I don't even know if I wanted to talk about this, but I think I should talk about this. I think I should. My friend Sandy, she knows what's been going on, and I have talked about the haters in my videos, of course. But today was the first time that I have done an energy cleansing on the internet, and there's an amazing lady. Her name sounds Russian. Her name's Vanda, and she is at the East Coast, and she has been doing energy cleansings for over 50 years. An amazing woman, and she does energy cleansing and entity attachment dissolution with people. And I found her because I put into the Google search energy healer in my community here, and it brought her up right away. So I think it was the first or second link, and even though it said commercial or something, then I still clicked on it, and I see that it is, of course, that's her business also, and that's her institution, but it's not commercial in the sense of a lot of commercial stuff that's out there. She offers this energy cleansing for free for people because she knows that the people who reach out to her, most of the people that reach out to her are suffering quite a great deal. Okay, and it's like an emergency, and that's what it was for me today, because I hadn't slept well for the last 2 nights. I slept about 3 hours each night, and right now I'm very tired, and I have taken pain medicine, and I have taken also herbs to help with the pain management of my hip. But I have been doing this already last couple of days, and the pain kept coming back. And so after I did that energy session just on her website, just sending her a letter with the request of energy cleansing and entity attachment dissolution. So that means I have entities that are attached to me, and I had Okay, I would say maybe they no longer are attached now, and I hope they are not attached anymore. It felt like that she was able to dissolve this attachment, and I hope very much that is what it is, and that it stays this way also. And I felt an hour after I sent her this letter, because she said she does not tell people when she is doing that dissolution and the energy cleansing, because if she told people, then that might interfere with the process. And she does this remote healer, and I felt a shift happening an hour later. So I felt like she must have done that energy cleansing and the entity attachment dissolution, because I felt incredibly heavy suddenly. Heavy and light at the same time. I felt light in terms of the burden was gone, and heavy in terms of being so. A baby dog's foot is pressing against me. Ow, that hurts. Yes, that hurts. So I felt so heavy because I'm tired, and so it's like if you're struggling with something, if someone is torturing you physically and a police officer comes in and takes that torturer away, you would fall over. That's how heavy and tired you are, because your body needs to rest. Okay, and that's how I felt. So for years I have been suffering with those entities, and these entities are, she says, they're souls that attach themselves to someone, but I know that not all souls that attach themselves to someone are necessarily disembodied. Some of them can actually be in the physical, as I believe my haters to be. So, and they still attach themselves to another person that's in the physical. And through remote viewing and through Masonic temple, remote pain causing and this kind of stuff. Okay, and I believe that they have caused my hip pain, and this hip pain is so intense. This was so intense for several days that I was getting suicidal. I thought that I can't live with that kind of pain. That's why I reached out to the energy healer. Okay, and I'm infinitely grateful to her that she is doing this for free, this emergency energy cleansing, remote cleansing. This is wonderful of her, very wonderful. I wonder how many letters she is getting, and how many times she is doing these energy cleansings for people for free. But for anyone who wants to have regular sessions with her or attend her classes or buy her books, of course, you can go on her website and you can get all of that as well. I know that Paul is never going to spend a penny on this, okay? So, yes, you are my everything. That's what you are. And then another thing happened. The baby dog, he got in a fight with the raccoon, and the raccoon punctured his face and neck and nose with 1,000 puncture wounds. So the nose was all swollen up and everything. I was able to break that fight up by spraying them with the garden hose. It was horrific, all of this. All of these things happening at the same time over the last couple of days. So. And I also suspect the entities in physical bodies, the haters, I suspect them to have done that as well. So maybe I'm wrong, okay? I may be wrong, but that's what I am thinking, at least, So, and then I got really, 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 really angry yesterday. I got really angry at them. And I don't want to be in that mental state of anger. I know from the sky perspective that these people are confused. As Jesus Christ said, have mercy on them, Lord or karma or whatever, because they don't know what they're doing. And I know they don't know what they're doing. They are driven by addiction. They are driven by dualism, materialism, ego, self-ideas, ideas about what they have been told is masculine, attachment to all of these ideas. And these are false ideas, of course. Okay, that's not what masculinity is about. Okay, it's not about bondage. It's not about hurting a woman in order to feel more masculine. That's what they do. They hurt a woman in order to feel more masculine. It's what the entire bondage community is all about. Okay, and most people don't even know that. Most people will shun all of this, and it's negative. I don't want to think about it. But if we reject that, what we call negative or whatever, we want to only attract the positive. Unfortunately, the world is not just like where I can choose just to be around the positive and I can choose to shun out the negative. That's also not why we're here in this existence. We are here in this existence in order to grow and learn and also help others grow and learn. The Blue God agrees. 3333. It's the truth, I'm not making this up. This is how the Blue God gives me the signs that this is the absolute truth, what I'm talking about. So, but we also at the same time, if we are, and I thought about this in my room earlier, we also have to protect ourselves. We can't be sacrificing ourselves to a hater. We can't be giving ourselves as food, as meat to a hater who will then destroy us, right? Obviously we can't do that, because the hater will destroy you if you give yourself to the hater. If you get into a relationship that is bondage based, chances are very high that you're going to get killed in this relationship, okay? We see it all the time. Diddy and all of these people, it's right in your face. Okay. Those people are they control women. They feel like they need to control a woman. They call it love, which is a very brutal misunderstanding of what love is. They hold women hostage. They have rooms in their basement where they hold women hostage. That's called human trafficking. And it is criminal, it's psychopathic, and they don't know what they're doing because they're confused, okay? But obviously that has to come to an end, okay? We need a president who will stop this. That's why we need to vote for Donald Trump. This is very important, okay? We need Elon Musk, Donald Trump, Tulsi Gabbard, and Robert Kennedy. We need these people in the White House. Those are good people, okay? They will create peace and prosperity and order. And that's what we need, okay? In the same sense, you can't give your life, okay, to someone who, you have to create order in your life, okay? You can't put yourself at risk with a man that will put you into a cage, okay? You can't, at the same time, we can't, to translate this to a country, we can't let psychopaths into this country to destroy this country and then make this country into Venezuela, okay, or Guyana, or South America, or Brazil. Yeah. And that's what would happen, okay? They're on the trajectory of doing this, the criminals in the White House right now. And if you don't vote for Donald Trump, we're gonna get this country into a state of Venezuela and Guyana and South America. If that's what you like to see. Well, I see now that the majority of people do not want this to happen. Okay. It's really our choice, that's why I speak about these things. That's why I write my commentaries on the internet, because I care very deeply about this. So I'm not going to go into the chat rooms for a while because I have to take a break from that. I have to rest from this. Okay, this is very upsetting for me to go into the chat rooms, particularly knowing the patterns of my haters and what they write in order to make me feel ugly and irritated and torture me psychologically. Okay. And they're out for this. That's what they're doing. So if they can't torture me physically, they will do it psychologically by calling me old man or frog or whatever the names are. Okay. They call me all kinds of nasty stuff. Okay. And vulgar stuff. Very vulgar. Which I don't deserve. They also call me hoe, which I am not, okay? I am absolutely not a hoe, okay? I'm not garbage. I'm not a garbage dumpster. I'm not their garbage dumpster, okay? I'm nobody's garbage dumpster. And nobody is anyone else's garbage dumpster. No one is garbage. No living being is garbage. Okay. Just want to make this very crystal clear. We're all here, we're all learning. Every living being is a powerhouse of energy vibration. This body here is an amazing energy factory. Okay? Amazingly intelligent this whole body is. Okay? there are functions that are happening without you ever even knowing about it. Okay, it functions on its own to heal itself. It has its internal energy of intelligence and knowing. We're all always trying to heal ourselves. The animals, the baby dog with the puncture wounds, his body is a powerhouse of self-healing. Okay, Paul is coming back. I have to turn the video off now because he's gonna say something, and then I have to delete the video because his voice is in the video. So as soon as I hear the key, I'm gonna have to turn the video off. But I wanted to talk about this because it's very important to me. There he's coming though. Peace and love.